All right, welcome in everybody. I have another super exciting interview here for you today. So it's with our client Priscilla from Camp Pause, and Priscilla was kind enough to come in here and just kind of talk about her experience working with us and how we got connected and what it's been like ever since we, got the marketing plugged into her business and all that good stuff. So Priscilla, without further ado, do you mind just kind of introducing yourself, telling everyone who you are, and kind of how you got started as a dog trainer?
Yeah, for sure. So, my name is Priscilla. I'm 22 and I'm running this business from home. Currently, my husband is working with me, so we're both kind of handling dogs, day in, day out. And we got started, or I got started, because I met Zach, my husband, and at that point, he was a dog groomer. And I also wanted to work with dogs, but I didn't want to break my back working as a
Hmm.
dog groomer. So, I I did some Googling and came across dog training, and I trained with a different company, but it honestly wasn't a great fit. So I decided to start a business on my own and do dog training on my own. And I actually found you guys because Zach saw your Instagram ad and he was like, "Hey, Priscilla, check this out." So I think I DM'd you or something. We had that Zoom call, and the rest is history.
Yeah, and just to kind of jump right into it, something I love about you, Priscilla, is you are like you said, you're 22 years old, and you have me beat. I started my first business when I was 24, and I just think I've had people say to me over the years, like, "Am I too young to be doing this? Are people gonna take me seriously, or do I just need to like pay my dues or something like that?" And I just think that good business is good business, and if you know what you're doing and have a good system in place, like you can grow a profitable business at any age.
Yeah.
And so I just, I love your story because I've, had the pleasure of working with you for a couple months now, and we'll get into all your numbers and all that stuff. But something that I always remind myself about you, and whenever I think about like when we first got started together, is like you just had this like real optimism about you. You're like very bright eyed and bushy tailed and just excited for any opportunity. And I feel like that is something that is a telltale sign of like this is going to work. And I remember that in the beginning, that you were getting leads and just like excited to have the opportunity. You're like, hey, this is a nice change of pace. My phone is ringing. I'm going to meet with people. And you just never got discouraged. Like, even in the beginning, if you did a consultation and they didn't say yes, you're just like, I'm just going to keep doing more of these. And so you really bought into the process. And again, we'll get into the numbers in a second here and people can see, what the fruits of that have been. But do you mind just talking a little bit about that and like kind of your mindset and like, how you stay so optimistic and just kind of like, when it comes to life and running a business and stuff like that?
Yeah, for sure. So this is not my first business. I started my first business when I was 18 with
Okay.
my dad backing me up, and we were actually selling motorcycle parts.
Hmm.
Huge chunk of that was learning how to talk to people and to try to sell your stuff, but a lot of people don't buy. And
Hmm.
do a lot of kind of like Facebook offer up stuff, and a lot of people just talk to you and they don't want to buy, and part of it is just rolling with it. So I
Right.
think that's where my kind of mindset came from, because if people aren't going to buy, people aren't going to buy, and it's not the end of the world. That bled into this business where it is really is just me when I started it, and I didn't have any other choice than to keep going. So I at start when I started, there was a lot of Zoom consultations that I regret doing. On those Zoom consultations, you can kind of tell by the end of it that they don't want to buy, but you just gotta keep taking that next call and start scheduling in-person consultations.
Yeah.
It's just rolling with it. There's
Yeah.
much you can do for people who simply are too far away or simply don't have enough funds to put into a training program, because I
Yes.
some people ask me, my budget is $100. $100, is that enough? And I just have to be like, I get the financial situation.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that is just not something that we can help you with.
We can't work with that. Yeah. That's an impossible starting point for this. Like you can go to PetSmart, let's
Yeah,
see what you
I
can
have
do there.
referred people to PetSmart or Petco
Yeah.
a lot, just because I understand finances are rough sometimes. So it's
Exactly.
just be honest with your clients. whether or
Yeah.
not they're buying from you.
Yeah, but you got the memo, when you started your first business and like you said before that like sales is a numbers game and you're going to be rejected, you're going to have people say no, you're going to have people that you feel like wasted your time. But that doesn't mean that you throw the baby out with the bathwater and just start saying like I'm not doing this at all anymore and I'm only going to, I'm not going to answer calls or do consultations. I'm just going to have my prices on my website and if they're serious then they'll buy. Like you just kind of have this mentality of like okay, on to the next. And so I think that that's like really the telltale sign of a really good entrepreneur is being able to like deal with rejection sometimes because I get rejected too. And not everybody says yes. And just be like, okay, I'm moving on. That person wasn't for me, but there is somebody else out there. And like, not losing faith and thinking like, because I got a couple no's in a row, this doesn't work anymore. And I just got to pivot away from this business model altogether?
It's kind of like there was a day in, I think it was November. I got two high ticket sales in one day, but it's the same idea. I'm not going to get two high ticket sales in one day every day. So
Yeah.
it's not like every day if I get rejected 5 times, I'm going to get rejected 5 times every day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's the age old like every no that you get is one no closer to a yes, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, just going back to November, like October, November. So I know we were talking a little bit about this before the call. We started in September. So I think your first full month was October. And so do you mind talking about October and November, what that looked like for you, like revenue wise and stuff like that, so that people can kind of hear like where you're at?
Yeah. So in October and November, on average, I think we did 15 grand a month revenue. And it looked like a lot of consultations, right? And
Yeah.
going out to people, fortunately, most of them were relatively close by within a 30, 45-minute drive.
Yep.
And just getting them booked in as quickly as possible, trying to make the process super easy for the people who do want to book.
Hmm.
And for the consultations that didn't go through, you move on with it. It goes into the numbers and you do the follow-up calls, which I am admittedly not so great at. I'm working on it, but getting into the routine of scheduling consultations, following up with old leads, and the routine of picking up calls, talking through the phone to try to get that consultation, getting your sales process down. I'm a really like sales newbie, so October and November was definitely a learning period for me.
Yes. Yeah.
I was very, very fortunate to have landed the clients that I did. We maxed out at 3 dogs a week for a lot of it, and that was at around 1,500 per dog per week.
Mm.
That's how we kind of got to that number. And it was just a lot of routine, pretty repetitive. It kind of felt like you were saying the same thing to everybody, but that's the sales process.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
it's just a routine that you stick with, and it'll work for some people, it won't work for other people, and that's business.
That's right. And I think the fact that you said it's a routine, I think is spot on because like you can refine that routine too. And I think a really good salesperson and a good business owner recognizes, hey, when I say this thing, it doesn't really evoke the reaction that I want it to. So let me kind of like reword how I say that, or let me say this instead, or let me ask this question or reframe it in this way. And that's how I think that people over time end up being able to make these jumps of being able to close like 10% of leads to 15 to 20% to 25% to 30, 40, 50%. And we see growth in with a lot of people where like over time you just start noticing patterns where like when I do this during consultations I get more people to say yes. When I do this or I don't take enough time doing this, then all of a sudden my numbers drop.
For sure. Like something I struggled with was when people calling would ask for prices on the phone. I didn't
Hmm.
know how to address that. But on a specific call with Leanne, she kind of gave me like a script, a couple of pointers.
Yeah.
Now I've noticed that when I just tell them I'm being transparent, we don't usually give out prices over the phone, they're a lot more open to having that consultation afterwards.
Yeah, that's such a good point. I've had people who are like, "I'm telling you, Kevin, they're just adamant that they need pricing over the phone." I'm like, "I'm telling you that I've heard that a million times before, and if you do this and you tweak it and just like exactly you said, like I'm being transparent. This is why we need to do a consultation. That people will, follow your lead and allow you to do the consultation with them." Yeah. So I mean, like, do you mind going into that a little bit more? Because I feel like this can be like a really good hack for people who struggle with that. Like, what do you do to kind of like flip somebody who's just asking about price on that initial call to like moving past that and just getting them to focus on just doing the consultation with you?
Yeah, for sure. So recently, actually, just this month, I've actually been getting a lot of calls where they pick up the phone and they're like, "Hey, I'm looking for pricing about your programs. You do dog training, right?" And
Hmm.
I say, "For sure, we do dog training. Can you tell me a little bit about your dog, like breed, age, what kind of training they're looking for?" So getting them talking about what they need help with and little details about their life that they might have issues with or their goals, things like that. Kind of like a mini consultation. The
Hmm.
calls really aren't more than 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah. Good.
And when they ask again, at the end of their little like spiel, they ask, "Yeah, so can I get the pricing?" I usually just word for word, I say, "So to be transparent, we don't usually give out pricing over the phone because there is so much detail that goes into picking out which program would be the best fit." And the way I phrase it is kind of, we want to pick a program that fits their schedules because not everybody can do a lesson program. Not everybody can do a board and train. So the way I phrase it is, on the consultation, we get to talk about all the details that go into picking a program, and you get to explore your options. And that way, we can pick the program that is going to fit you guys best on the consultation.
Yeah, super well said. Yeah, what I always think about is just because somebody's asking you a very specific question doesn't mean you need to give them a very specific answer, which is a very awkward thing when you first get into sales
Yeah.
because you feel like in any other aspect in life, someone's like, "What color is the sky?" And you're just like, you just want to say blue, you know? And in sales is kind of like, before I go into what the color of the sky is, do you mind just telling me a little bit about your your living situation and who you live with and stuff like that? And so it can feel like as awkward as that, but I just think that a lot of times people are coming to you asking that question just because they really don't even know what other question to ask. And they feel like that's going to be one of the biggest determining factors as to what they're going to want to do and which program they're going to want to go with and which trainer they're going to choose as far as who they're going to want to, get their dog trained with. But at the end of the day, what they don't realize because they're not dog trainers, it's not apples to apples. It's not apples to oranges. What you're doing, it is apples to oranges, I should say. It's what you're doing is not the same as what's going on at PetSmart or Petco, right? You offer a very different service, but to the average person who's coming to you, they don't realize that yet, and they just think like, oh, dog training is dog training. So you kind of need to like explain that to them a little bit and not get upset when they just come and ask you about pricing because again, they don't think that's an offhanded question. They're just asking that because it's to them an important question and it's all about how you handle it. So I think that's beautifully done. Like just kind of get them talking about something else, telling them about your or telling you about their situation. And then at the end, I think that's really well said. Like, I'm just going to be transparent with you as a company. This is what we do and this is what we don't do. And I feel like if you just lay that out there for people, a lot of people are going to go with that.
Mhm.
The last thing I'll say on this too, just because I think that this was super helpful for me, I have a hard and fast rule, and I tell all of our clients to have the same rule. It's like you don't give pricing over that initial touch point. You don't give pricing over that initial call. Very rarely, if ever, like I don't think it's ever happened that you go to tell somebody, or when they ask you time and time again, "What's your price? What's your price? What's your price?" That you get like, you know what? Fine, I'll just give it to them. You say it's going to be $4,000, and they say, "Great, here's my card. How can I get started?" Like that
Never.
never happens. It's always, let me call you back. Let me think about it. So those people, like, we're never going to be your client anyway. If they're unwilling to meet you for 30 minutes, 45 an hour to do a consultation with you, what kind of client are they going to be? They're just going to have these types of expectations that like, hey, Priscilla, you just go take care of everything for you. I'm just going to go pay you and I don't want to be involved. I don't want to meet with you. You just go do it. It's like, that's not someone you want to be involved with in the first place.
I've had one or two calls like that. And it was just after we talked about all the details, and they were like, "I said the consultation is going to be 30 to 45 minutes." And they continued to say, "I don't want to waste your time. I don't want you to waste my time. How much is it?"
Yeah.
And that was just when I was taking a step back. I gave them a range, and they said, "I'll call you back." And I let it go.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not for me anyway, you know? And yeah, so I think that that's a really good thing because like as you found, like it's just about getting more opportunities on your calendar. The more consultations you do, the better likelihood you have of making a sale and the higher likelihood that you're going to sign up a new client, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's awesome because I think that a lot of times people do get really discouraged in the beginning, especially where they're like, I got this consultation and they get their first consultation booked and they have that one booked and they hedge all their bets on that one thing, right? And then if the person says no to them, they're like destroyed by it. They're like, oh my God, they said no. It's like, do 20 of these. Don't do one, do 20 and see what happens, you know?
And I've always been on the boat of like volume beats luck.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
the more you do, the more likely you're going to land something.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, so now we started at an interesting time. We started I think at a great time, honestly, coming into the fall. So we started in September, you had 2 great months right out the gate, and then you had a big life event recently where you got married.
I did.
And so, like, that took, that kinda probably took you away from the business a little bit, but how are things looking going into, like, February and stuff like that for you?
For sure. We kind of had a pause in December and January because of wedding planning and everything.
Mhm.
The holiday, my family flew in from Malaysia, like a 20-hour situation.
Yeah.
So we definitely wanted to take things a little slower. So I think that definitely knocked me off the momentum from October and November. But coming into the new year, we have a new routine set up, so we're a
Mhm.
little optimistic for
Yeah, yeah.
how we're going to be handling the business. We're going to be a little bit more cognizant of the miscellaneous
Yeah,
business.
yeah, yeah. And I just want to say real quick too, like I think that this is what's so cool about like having control over your advertising and client acquisition is that like do big life events do come up, and you do get married and it's like a really nice blessing to be able to say like we did 30K over the first like 2 months of working together. Now I'm getting married. I'm only going to get married once, God willing, right? And I want to take the time to be with my fiance, my now husband, and my family when they're here and stuff like that, and be able to kind of like put other things to the side. You're
Yeah.
22 years old, and like you have like another like I hate to break it to you, another 50 years of doing this,
Oh no.
So the thing is like you can kind of say, you know what, I had a really good like I have the systems and processes dialed in. I know how to get clients. And so now coming into the new year, it's like a really good opportunity for you just like ramp things up.
Mhm.
Now, the other thing I want to touch on too is, you know, your boyfriend, now husband, was a dog groomer. And so now he's come on to work with you full time effectively, right?
Join me mid October. I
Yeah.
I booked. So I told you the day that I booked 2 clients,
Hmm.
I came out of a consultation. He was still at his job. I called him and like screamed on the phone, quit your job, come work for me."
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's really cool how the timing worked out because with the October and November success, we were able to go through December and most of January not really working much without having to
Yeah,
worry about finances.
exactly. Yep.
We weren't like super stressed out like we would have if we had a normal like 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So that was
Wait, I got to ask, how did he respond to that when he got that call from you saying like, quit your job, you got to quit now?
he told me that his coworker heard him and gave him a side eye.
Oh, man.
So that was really awkward. He was trying not to make a big deal about it because he
Yeah.
still had to put in his 2 weeks
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and get things sorted out with his employer because he actually really liked that grooming place.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He's
That's a
looking
great story though.
he's telling me that he's looking back now and he's so happy that he quit because his wrists aren't hurting. He can
Mm.
actually crack his thumbs, he said one time. His back isn't hurting, his legs aren't hurting. So
Yeah. Yeah, I have a client, Lucas, who I've been working with for a long time. I'll never forget, he said to me one time, he's like, "Dog trainers think they have it hard." And he's like, "And we do. Like, there's a lot of grunt work." He's like, "But I think it like groomers and the stuff they deal with and like trying to cut a dog's hair and stuff like that, that like is just doesn't want to cooperate at all. It's not trained and it's just like thrashing or trying to give it a bath and stuff like that. It's like that is really a tough lifestyle sometimes, you
yeah,
know?"
as dog trainers, we have the privilege of taking a break when the
Yeah.
dogs aren't feeling it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You take a dog outside and you're trying to train it, and then it's just alligator rolling on the floor. We're able to take a break and just come back, revisit.
Yeah.
With the dog groomer, they have to do everything within a span of like 3 to 4 hours, and it's
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, "This dog isn't cooperating, too bad, just keep going," you know? Yeah. But, another thing too is, like, I love the fact that you guys run your business together. I think, 1, people really love a family business. I think that makes people automatically feel more comfortable, like, "Hey, I run this company with my husband or my wife," and what I always think about is there's that saying in business that no one's ever going to care about your business as much as you do. But there's a caveat to that of like, except for your spouse, because this is your both of your livelihoods, and you guys are getting ready for potentially a big move and stuff like that. So you guys are just both working towards this common goal of like really building a successful business together. So I just think that's really cool because two people versus one, there's just certain things you can do. Like you could be focused on following up with sales where he could be working with dogs or vice versa. Or you can just, if you needed a break and just to take a certain day a little bit more, just be a little more chill on that day. It's just nice to have somebody who else is there in the business with you and it's not totally on your shoulders. You know what I mean?
I think the first time I really felt that was a couple days ago when I was working on sorting through like motorcycle parts because that's
Hmm.
doing that business. I was sorting through that and he and his brother went out to a park with two dogs and just did the job.
Yeah.
And on that day I just had to like edit the video and write the pup date for the owners and
Yeah.
we had the freedom of doing something with my dad rather than doing the same
Yeah.
every day, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
And
No, 100%.
where we've kind of put into a routine where dog training time does get cut in half because he's working
Hmm.
one leg, I'm working the other. He has a little gimbal, so our videos are coming out super nice. So
Nice.
have a partner working with you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I'm sorry, Priscilla.
And
Go ahead.
I'm
Cut
in
you off there.
charge of handling all the admin stuff,
Uh huh.
whereas he's in charge of working on social media stuff. So
Okay.
we're breaking these roles apart, and it's so helpful.
Yeah, I think trying to do everything yourself is, I mean, there's a time to do that. You started this business yourself. When we got plugged in together and we started doing it, like there was a period of time where you were doing everything yourself. But I think as soon as you can get that second person in to help you with just like they're kind of a Swiss Army knife, like, hey, we need to create better social media content, or I need, there's gonna be times where I'm in a consultation. Can you take the phone or something like that? Or can you train these dogs or feed them, walk them, potty them, all that stuff? It's just that what I always think about with business is you're not intended to do it all yourself for 30 years. Like you need help. You wouldn't really expect to do anything else like that entirely yourself in any other aspects in life. Like you need good people in your corner to support you. So I think that being in a business by yourself is no different. After a certain period of time, the burnout can get set in and stuff like that. And I think yeah, it's just really good to have helpful people in your corner.
And all the things that go into business, they are technically professions. People handle your bookkeeping, people handle your
Right.
social media, and you can only be so good at so many things at once.
Right. Yeah.
From me to basically technically doubling my team,
Yeah.
both be this like so good at more things now.
Yes.
And we're hiring you guys for all the ads and stuff that I was not able to figure out at all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
I
that's what
it's just
I was
learning.
gonna say real quick. That's what I wanna get into. Oh, that's what I wanna get into next because do you mind just kinda sharing a little bit, like, about, like, what was it like before we got plugged in together? Like, what were you doing? What did your day-to-day look like? What did you tried? And, like, what was it like once we really got things going for you?
So, from all of my ad making experience,
Okay.
I have made maybe one sale in
Okay.
from when I was 18 to when I was 21. Okay. I
Mhm.
didn't run a lot of ads because money was not like we didn't have a lot to invest in ads. We didn't understand the importance of investing a lot in ads. Right. We were thinking like $10 a day. Right?
Right.
And for maybe like 1 or 2 weeks. That was our concept of it, okay? So we didn't really have a realistic idea. Um,
Yeah.
and I mean, with my dad, we had tried to do like Shopify stuff that was
Mhm.
all online based, ads based, that didn't work out. It was when the drop shipping craze was at its
Right.
highest.
I got in on that too. Yeah. Yeah. It didn't work out for me, but I tried. Yeah.
Yeah, we tried to with the ads and everything, but we were selling like bubble guns or something.
Yeah.
But that
Yeah.
didn't really work out. I was trying to handle all the ads. There is just so many moving parts that goes into like the campaigns and
Right.
all the other components that I don't know of.
Yeah. No, totally. But so you had tried running some ads for your dog training business as well?
I did, but not for long because like in the very beginning of my business, it was in 2024, August of 2024, that's when I opened it. I want it to be a dog boarding and daycare.
Okay.
And I had started to run some ads. I also posted myself on like Facebook Marketplace. Pretty sure it's against their policy.
Mhm.
We had one client named Beans who boarded for one night. And it was weird because I found out that I hated boarding dogs just before.
Uh,
I hated it. It was extremely boring. I wasn't doing much with the dogs, like maybe some enrichment toys here and there.
yeah.
There wasn't a lot of interaction going on because that dog
Right.
was super chill. He was a good dog, granted.
Yeah.
But after that, I stopped running ads and I figured that I would still like to work with dogs, but something that was a little bit more mentally stimulating.
Okay. Yeah.
I started like looking at other types of dog jobs, but it was a very, very brief period where I tried to run ads for the dog boarding and daycare.
Yeah.
After that, I signed up with a company. So I was like under a company, and that didn't
Mhm.
really work out long term.
Right.
And after that, when I was like preparing to see what's the next step in my life, I didn't love that company. Am I still doing dog training? I wanted to do dog training on my own. I didn't know if it was really feasible. That's
Yeah.
when you guys came in the picture.
Okay, cool.
Very good.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I just wanna say too, like, I think you touched on something really helpful before where it's like, people do this with their dog training business where they'll, like, run ads,
Hmm.
quote, unquote, "run ads,"
Yeah.
and they're, like, boosting a post, for, like, $5 a day or something like that, and it's like, that may have worked back in 2012 or something like that, 2014, but, like, the days of that are just kinda gone, It's like you need to have, like, a real budget, and what I always think about is it's all about the ROI that you get, like, even if you need to set a budget at $1,000, a month or $1,500 a month, it's like if that results in you bringing in one sale. I mean, if I heard you correctly, you guys are up to the point where you're at like $1,500 a week now per program, right?
Per dog per
Yeah,
week. Yeah.
per dog per week. If a dog is with you for 3 weeks, is that program $4,500?
Yes.
Yeah. So like that's the thing. It's like, yeah, even if you spend 1,000, $2,000, like which we don't even have the ad spend that high. But if that was the case, it's like you still tripled your money off one sale, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So it's all about the return on your investment. I think a lot of times, and I've been here myself, it's like you can be so focused on what am I putting out and that you never really open your mind up to and the idea of, what can I bring in? What can this bring into the business,
Like
So
for us, I'm pretty sure our ad like Google ad budget is $1,500 a month.
right. Yeah.
A dog, a little lab right here, who is with us for a month. Her program is a 4 week program. It's going for $7,200.
Yeah, dude, you spend $1,500, you make
Yeah,
7,200. It's like insane. And that's with one sale, So I mean,
our only client right now, and we're feeling good.
yeah. Well, so this is another thing I want to bring up too. Like you are very ambitious. Like you're very like unsuspecting. When I first met you, I just was like, like you struck me as just like, hey, like I'm kind of dabbling in this and stuff like that. But as I've gotten to know you more and see you navigate your business, like you're very ambitious and I think that you think of things in a really smart way where you're not focused on quantity. You're not trying to get 50 dogs in. You're focused on quality and like how can I get really high ticket like you used that term before, right? Like high ticket programs. And do you mind talking about that? Like what is your philosophy on
The first obstacle is I cannot handle a lot of dogs at once.
that? Okay.
So it's just a personal limit, a boundary that I have drawn for myself, and also
Yeah.
settled on 3 dogs, like 3 client dogs at a time because it was the city limit.
Hmm.
So we did have like these constraints, and it wasn't just like a random number I pulled out of nowhere.
Hmm.
Because I had worked with that company before, I knew where the prices were at. I've done my
Right.
research on nearby dog trainers who have like similar programs, and I saw the potential. It's a lot of money on the table for the job that we do.
Right.
I saw that there was a lot, like it was to me, it feels kind of like they're paying more than they should, but this is where the market is at.
Yeah. Okay, so that right there, you perfectly articulated it. So what I always think about is like it doesn't really matter what I think or what you think. What it really matters is what the market thinks. If it mattered what I think, then I should, I think that Apple stock should be worth $5 a share. It's like, guess what? It's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's like, what will the market bear? If you say, "Hey, my dog training program is 7,200 and people are like, "Yeah, I agree. That's what it's worth, and that's what I'm willing to pay," then guess what? That's what it's worth. And if it's not worth that, the market will correct you and say, like, "Actually, you can't sell dog training programs for 50K. You can't sell them for 40K. It's only you can only sell it for this." But you're only gonna know by, like, testing the waters and bumping your prices up. But so many people, I guess what I was really trying to get at before is so many people really stay stuck for so long because they're so fearful of like, what if I raise my prices and somebody says no to me? And you've always been somebody to really like swing for the fences and just say, like, this is what I want. This is the type of business I want to have. I can't have 50 dogs, but I want to make a certain level of income. And so you just priced your programs accordingly.
Right. And actually, we did raise our prices from $1,500 a week to $1,800 a week for a full time board and train. But
Yeah.
the way we did it was we still had a $1,500 a week option.
Hmm.
It's just they're only with us for the weekdays and they
Yeah.
go home on the weekends. So we set
Yeah.
it in a way where the price raise was optional.
Mhm. Yeah, and you're and this goes back to, like, what we were talking about before of you're not concerned with everybody saying yes to you. Because I think sometimes people can have these vanity metrics when it comes to sales and closing in their business where they're like, "I have 90% close rate. Everybody says yes to me." It's like, "Okay, that's cool," but you're also, like, booked out so far and you've made all these sales and, like, what if you were to drop your closing rate down to a 50% close rate, but you effectively double your prices, right? You could be making more money and effectively working less if you wanted to. Yeah, I mean, you can get like really obsessed with like numbers and it's like I close 80, 90%, but it's like, yeah, but you're selling something that's under the market price of what you could actually be charging for it.
I think something because you guys have a sales course that goes with your not just like running ads and doing
Yeah,
you have a sales course. I really benefited from that.
good.
That's where I learned stuff, right? And something
Yeah.
that stuck with me was if you're telling your clients on consultations that your first availability is 6 months out, that's not
Hmm.
our service.
Right.
You'd rather have a higher price and or soon availability than a super low price, but you're booked out for a year.
Yeah. So well said. I always think that too, where people are like, I'm booked out 6 months in advance. It's like, congrats. But like again, that's like an ego vanity metric of like, look how booked out I am. Because there's also a big difference between being booked out with two board and trains a month or having a kennel where you can take on 50 dogs and being booked out. So it is really relative in that regard. And yeah, I mean, if you're booked out that far, that just if you're closing so many like 80% of your leads and you're booked out months in advance, it's like you probably can double your prices.
Yeah.
And if not that, maybe a little bit less. But at the end of the day, like that should be the first place you look to kind of like change in your business. Otherwise, you're just leaving so much money on the table. And again, like it's not about what you or I think, it's about what the market determines we're worth.
Right. Because higher demand means higher prices.
Right.
How the housing market is.
Yeah. But so another thing too I want to talk about. So I have two more questions for you. The first one is more of just a statement actually. Like you guys are getting ready, for a move potentially, and we don't need to go into like where you're going or anything like that. But something that I always love about this is it's not a fluke thing. Like you're going to be able to move to a new market, you're going to be able to launch ads there, and you're going to be able to replicate this because you have the skill and the knowledge on how to do it. And I think that that's the number one thing in life that like people can never take away from you is like your ability to be able to like, have the skill and the knowledge, like I said before, to understand how to work and grow a successful company. And so like I just want to kind of get your mindset on that and like your thoughts on that because you started one successful business, you're effectively getting ready to move it and start another one. What do you have to say to people who are like fearful of like starting a company? Because you're kind of like a serial entrepreneur. So what do you think of like those people that are like just like fearful of going and trying something on their own and trying something new?
Yes. So it definitely helps to have a professional on your side.
Mhm.
Right after the Zoom call, the first one ever that I did with you, and you had given me the number to work with you guys, number to run on Google Ads, I was very hesitant. But
Uh-huh.
I my the people around me, so my then fiance and my dad, they convinced me. They said this is a really good investment. So something
I need to thank your father and your fiance, yeah, or husband now. Yeah.
they both thought I was dumb for not just buying on the spot. So I
That's awesome.
would say that recognizing a good investment and a
Mhm.
risk is going to be your biggest tool.
Yeah.
If you're not willing to make that first financial investment, then your $0 is going to give you the matching result, right? The more money you spend, the more money
Yeah.
you're going to get.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So I have done business where I was super conservative with my investment. I was super conservative with
Mhm.
the risk that I was willing to take. And the results were, they matched what I was willing to put in. So the more that I was
Yeah.
willing to put in, the more I was getting out of it. Like I
That's
made
exactly right.
30, 40 grand already in like last the last quarter of last year.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a good point. I mean, we were kind of going through your numbers before this, and like you said, like you did 30K in your first 2 months. You somewhere between 30 to 40 grand, all in for the first, 4 months of us working together, averaging 10K a month. And that's with like taking some significant time off in that amount
Yes.
of time. But I think that's really good advice that you gave there. Like I do coaching programs, I work with people to help me grow my business. You can't do everything yourself. I was listening to an interview with Arnold Schwarzenegger recently, and your former governor, and he was talking about how like everyone likes to say to me, Arnold, you're a self-made man, and he's like, I'm not. I'm just not. Like there's so many people along the way who have helped me and lifted me up and given me opportunities and just good business partnerships and stuff like that. And I think a lot of times people think that like if someone's selling me something, then it's like, oh, this is a one-sided thing and I'm going to get scammed or screwed over and there's something in it for them. But it can be like a symbiotic relationship where like each person benefits. People do that all the time. What I always think about is like you take two companies like Apple and Samsung, and you think, oh, they're direct competitors. But guess what? Apple uses Samsung chips in their phones.
Yeah.
And like they're laughing all the way to the bank. We're thinking like, oh, they're like mortal enemies, and they're like, no, we make each other billions of dollars. And so I think like you can't figure everything out on your own. So the fact, like you were saying before, like this is why we really pride ourselves on being more than just like your traditional marketing agency. Like, yeah, we do marketing and that's like our bread and butter, but we love doing coaching calls, getting on, troubleshooting businesses. I mean, you've met with Leanne a million times. Sales course, we have a pricing and programs course. We're always coming out with new stuff. And then like obviously Alfred, our CRM to help manage stuff. But that's a good point where you're also going to get exactly out of it what you put in. And if you try running your business entirely by the expense side of things and you're like scared to ever like take a shot on goal, scared to ever spend any money, it's like you're probably not going to make any money.
Right. I think fear is something that drives a lot of people away. But fear is good. You can't ever get away from fear no matter what you're really doing.
Yeah.
Better invested in something that's going to work out, right?
Yeah. 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 And again, like even if you spend $1,000, it's like say you put $1,000 into something and it didn't work out. It's like, okay, you just lost $1,000. That's not going to bankrupt you. You know what I mean? It's not like you're taking out like $1 million loan or something like that. So it's like, yeah, you're taking calculated risks, but I think our brains as human beings are designed to keep us safe, not make us happy. And that's what that like fear thing is like it starts creeping in. You're like, this is unsafe. I feel uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, like you need to push through that. It's not that the most successful people in life, it's not that they're like immune to fear. It's not that they don't feel it, it's that they just plow through it and they don't like let it dictate how they move and the decisions that they make. You know what I mean?
There are plenty of personalities online on YouTube that share their stories. They've come back from bankruptcy even multiple times.
Yeah.
So it's about the mindset for sure.
Yeah. Well, this has been awesome. The last question I always love to finish up with, because I don't want to keep you all day. I know you have other things you have to get onto as well. The advice I always, or the advice I want to get from you that I think is going to be helpful to somebody else. The question I always like to ask is, if you put yourself back into the shoes that you were in a couple months ago, 4 months ago, before we got started together, say there's somebody else who's in that same exact situation now as you were in then. What is the advice that you would give to that person?
I would honestly just tell them to do the same thing I did because it worked out. It's just, I say this, I learned this when I was in theater. Commit to the bit, okay? Just, was it fake it till you make it?
Yeah.
Because I did not feel like I was qualified to sell $7,000 worth of stuff to one person.
Hmm.
I never would have thought that I would have ever made 15 grand in a month
Yeah.
because like you commit to the bit. When you roll up to client's house, just believe and act like you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Have a very well made plan set up for when you do book that client. Just take the risk, be prepared for the stuff that you're responsible for on your side. So the dog, the processes, the documents, everything like that. You want to make it super easy for the client, but take the risk and be prepared as best as I guess.
That's great advice. Yeah, yeah. I think so many of us hold ourselves back because we're so scared of the outcome or the potential outcome that never even happens or comes to fruition. And like you said, you're like, "Hey, who am I to charge $7,000 for a program?" But
Yeah.
then you just started asking for it and people said yes.
Hmm.
And that changes everything for you. That changes your life and the trajectory of your life forever. You realize that like, "Hey, I don't need to be somebody who's trying to be the cheapest. I'm trying to be the person who gets the best results for my clients. It gives them the best experience possible. And this is what I need to charge in order to be able to do that." And yeah, once somebody says yes to that, it's all just kind of numbers that we pull out of thin air at the end of the day. It's like, why $7,000? Why $4,000 for some people? Why do some people feel like I can't charge more than $1,000 for a board and train? It's like most of it is up here. Most of it is just like a self-limiting belief where you cap yourself at a certain point. It was either a lie or something that somebody planted in your brain at one point or another where you're like, you can't charge more than this. This is what, you charge for dog training. And yeah, there's like the industry standard of $1,000 a week of what people charge for board and trains. But then you get somebody like you every once in a while who just comes along and breaks the mold, and you're just kind of like, well, this is what I want to charge. And then people buy it. And the ironic thing is, like, I was talking to somebody recently who sent me a DM and he said to me, like, how do you scale businesses? And I'm doing 10K a month. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, what's your goal? Do you want to get to 100K? Just kind of like joking around. And he's like, that's not possible. You can't grow a dog training business. And I sent him a link to an interview that I did with one of our clients where he's literally doing 100K in a month. And he's like, I'm sorry, but that just can't be real. That's a scam. And I'm like, dude, I know this guy. And he even said in the video, like, reach out to me if you don't think this is true. But I think a lot of times, like, everyone has these self limiting beliefs, and you can't make $10,000 in a month as a dog trainer. You can't make $20,000. You can't even make $5,000. But so much of it just comes down to like you seeing your own vision, you seeing the potential and the belief in oneself to really do that. And once you have that, the sky really is the limit for you.
Yeah, because our goal is also hundreds of thousands, probably millions of dollars in the future when
Yeah.
we have multiple locations, we have actual staff, and
Yeah.
we might go into franchising. You never know. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
big dreams for this company, and we're the first step.
Yes, exactly. You just build it yourself and you build it to a point where you can make that first hire and then it's just off to the races from there? Yeah. Awesome, Priscilla. Well, this was super helpful for me. I appreciate you doing this and taking the time to meet with me today. I know a lot of people are going to be inspired by your story and stuff like that. So I can't wait to get this out and stuff like that and just kind of see where you take things over the next couple of years. So with
Yeah.
that being said, hang on. I'm gonna wrap up the interview here because I don't want to keep you all day. But yeah, I just want to say thank you to everybody watching. Thanks for all the support you guys give us. And if you're looking for, some help with your marketing or just business coaching in general in your dog training business, don't hesitate to reach out to us. There's no hard sale. We're not going to force you to do anything. And we just want to see if we're a good fit in the first place. So with that being said, I'm going to wrap things up now and we will see you guys all very soon in the next one. See you guys.